Welcome to Groups This Week. As a church, we exist to help all people become fully devoted followers of Jesus. We believe doing life together is a crucial part of that journey. During this time, we're going to unpack and dig deeper into the sermon we heard this past week. Let's dive in as we continue to grow in our faith, knowledge, and love of Jesus together.
Hey everybody, Sam and I are excited to be with you this week. We've been in the middle of a series kind of on vision, which we like to visit every year, every 2 years maybe, to just kind of talk about where we are as a church. And it's a good reminder for people who have been a part of the church for a while, but also for those who are deciding whether they want to be a part of our
Fall's
church.
a great time for it because so many people are visiting and checking things out. Yeah.
And I mean, you don't have to be at our church for more than 5 minutes to realize, maybe a few
maybe
weeks.
10,
to realize that a mission is such a massive part of who we are. It goes much further back than just we as a church.
Yeah, we might say to Diane Francisco, she had a huge impact.
Yeah.
But even decades before that,
the
church is burned for it.
And even the Alliance, right? The Christian and Missionary Alliance was started as a denomination that was started as a missions organization that was out-focused. And as Pastor Mark said, we're not a cruise ship.
No,
we're aiming out. And the goal, as one person said, the goal is the church is the one organization that is always actually aimed on those who are not yet a part of it. That is the goal.
I love that.
Of the church. So this week, one of the main texts that you were preaching out of, I thought maybe I would just read it and we can reflect on it a little bit. So the Apostle Paul writes in Romans chapter 10. I'll read verses 9 to 15. It says, "If you declare with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For it is with your heart that you believe and are justified, and it is with your mouth that you profess your faith and are saved. As Scripture says, anyone who believes in him will never be put to shame. For there is no difference between Jew and Gentile. The same Lord is Lord and richly blesses all who call on him. For everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. How then," this is the challenge for us in the church, "how then can they call upon the one they have not believed in? And how can they believe in the one whom they have not heard? And how can they hear without someone preaching to them? And how can anyone preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news." So what's your immediate reflection? Just you've been kind of chewing on it this week. What's your immediate reflection as you hear that text?
Yeah, I mean, what a call to be a sending church, right? To send people out, to be a witness, to preach the good news. And when Paul says preach there, of course it includes what you and I often do on a Sunday, where we're standing in front of hundreds of people and talking about the Bible, talking about Jesus. So it includes that. But it's actually so much bigger than that. It's talking about proclaiming the good news of Jesus in all of our different spheres of influence, whether that be in our high schools or our colleges or the break room at work. It's proclaiming the good news of the gospel, whether it's to 500 people or to one person or five people.
That's good.
And so, I just think about the need to send out, and we've talked about this throughout the years a lot on a global level, and then as well on a local level. It's like, what does it look like to be missionaries overseas, and what does it look like to care about the marginalized and those who need to hear the gospel in our local context. But over this last year, what we've been really thinking about is like, do we have a responsibility nationally, like across Canada, to send out, to be about the church in Canada thriving? And I think we do. I think a big part of that is training up, equipping, and sending out preachers of the good news of Jesus Christ. Right.
And I think we're always maybe in danger of kind of creating this hierarchy of like, okay, there's the professionally spiritual.
Yes.
There's the doxa. There's those who are kind of trained and have an understanding, and then there's the kind of the everyday. Well, what about me? Kind of thing. Just before we jump into that, I think that idea of preaching. The early church had to kind of come up with a word that was familiar, but it was kind of used in a new way. And for us, it's probably the idea of herald. That you're coming in, like there's this news, there's amazing news that you need to hear about. And so that's not for the top, that's not for the middle, that's for everybody. Like if the news is as powerful as we proclaim the gospel to be, that we sing about in worship, that we proclaim when we take the communion. Then it's for every level, right?
Absolutely.
So what would you then say to the person who says, well, I'm just a shopkeeper. I own the local, I manage the local grocery store. I'm a barista.
Right,
I'm a mom or a dad. What does it mean for them?
Yeah.
Who maybe thinks, well, I'm at a lower, maybe a lower level. I don't know how to say that.
Yeah. Well, I think for the people you just described, I think in some ways you have an opportunity that I may never have. And God has put you into spaces where the people who need to hear the good news actually are. Yeah. They may come into a church and you may invite them, but better yet is for you to, in that space, to let your life be a preaching of the gospel and share your story. I think also that word preaching the gospel can be so intimidating, and so you have to have this 3-point sermon.
Yeah, and get on your little box and stand downtown East Hastings and give a sermon.
But I think preaching the gospel is as simple as sharing your story, and helping people to make sense of their story as part of a much grander, more beautiful narrative.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Any more to say? Or
No, I think
that's good.
I would love for you to discuss in groups, like what does it actually look like to be preachers of the gospel in your space? What are reasons why you maybe don't always do that?
Right, and to be, what does it mean, as Paul says to Timothy, right? To be ready in and out of season.
Yes.
To give a reason for the hope that you have.
Yeah.
That's as simple as it is, right?
That's it.
Yeah, great. Well, have a great conversation in your community groups. God bless.
Hope you enjoyed the teaching today. If you're wanting to follow along with our community group's discussion guide with your group, you can head to cachurch.ca/media, where you can find the discussion guide. Not only are there questions there related to the sermon, but there's also prayer prompts that relate to the passage or the topic that we were talking about, and practices that you can, on an individual level or a group level, begin integrating into your life to not only bring this knowledge into your mind, but to begin living it out.